Hello. Today we'll be seeing one of the questions from your uh, from your textbook, that is virus and worms. They have asked what is the difference between, one of the question is what is the difference between computer virus and computer worms. Okay, so we'll see what is computer virus and computer worms. And one more question that has been asked is what is a virus hoax. Okay, so we'll see even that. So we'll see these two questions from a textbook. So first we'll go through, or we'll be seeing today what is virus, what is worms, and the other question is what is computer, or sorry, what is virus hoax. So what is a computer virus basically? A computer, whenever we say a virus basically is nothing but some malicious code, or what you called it as some malware program that when that keeps on that when executed replicates itself. Okay, the computer virus is nothing but a malicious code or some malicious program that when executed, whenever that particular code is executed, it starts replicating itself. Okay, and once it starts replicating, what it does, it modifies the other computer programs. It modifies other computer programs and even the boot sector. There are few viruses which even change the boot sector of the hardware. It affects even the boot sector of the hardware. And whenever this replication succeeds, the affected areas are called as infected basically. Okay, so some typical virus actions. So basically, you all know that virus is nothing but basically any malicious code. Okay, any malicious code which when executes affects your system programs. It can also affect your boot manager in your computer and many other things. So what are the some typical virus actions? Where, how do you identify basically that your computer or your PC or your laptop or a phone has got virus affected? Okay, first one is it keeps on displaying a prompt messages. Okay, and you'll find that few files have deleted from your system. Your hard disk is not properly working. Your screen is getting flickered sometimes. Some different behavior happens, okay, which you're not even doing. At times your system even gets halt. At times what happens is your files get copied. Sometimes you can have same file n number of times with dollar symbols on them. Okay, so when you see this, that is nothing but display of prompt messages. Whenever you open your system, on right side corner you can see a pop-up window every time coming up, right? Next few things is like in your system your few files get deleted. Okay, some data in your hard disk gets affected. Your screen gets flickered, or the screen behavior suddenly changes where you are not doing it but it's doing initiated by itself. At times system gets halt. Then the replication of this virus replicate themselves. Okay, next now we have seen few of the actions where we can identify if the computer is virus affected or not. And one more we can see that whenever your system at times goes slow, very much slow than a normal speed, that is also one symptom. Next we'll see how virus is spread. So there are three ways in which a virus spread. One is through the internet. Next is standalone PC. Within the standalone PC, how it is affected. Now within the local network. So first we'll see how does a virus spread through internet. Now through internet, suppose an attacker through his PC, he sends a virus mail to the particular server. Okay, he targets a server and send some email to that server. Okay, and that email is having some malicious code. Okay. Now once this email is uploaded in that server, that particular email, even it starts spreading itself within the server. So the internet server and its the servers and the disk gets affected. Now suppose if user any of the user who are using this particular server, if suppose they are requesting for something, okay, and they want to download that data, so what happens, as the virus has been spread within this, the same virus is passed to this particular system, okay, to the user system who has requested some data to download. Now once that data is downloaded, okay, once the data is downloaded and the user opens the data or some executable file, he has downloaded something. Once he opens it, that particular gets executed and spreads within the system. This is virus spread through internet. Next we'll see virus spread in standalone system. Now whenever we speak with virus spreads through standalone system, the first thing comes in picture is floppy disk or CDs. Before it was floppy disk, next came CDs. Okay, so what happens here is the virus infected floppy disk is loaded in the computer. Now this virus from the floppy disk enters into the computer. Now once that happens, even your systems get affected. Now after that, your floppy disk is containing some virus or some malicious code in it. Once it has been inserted in the system, okay, to copy some data, the system also gets affected with virus. Now once, okay, this floppy disk, after using it, the user has removed. Now he's inserting a new floppy disk drive here, okay, a new floppy disk. Now once he insert that new floppy disk, okay, to copy some data, what happens is the virus within the system is copied into that particular floppy disk. Okay, so when you remove that floppy disk, it is basically infected by the virus. So this is virus spread to standalone systems. Next is virus spread through local network. Now whenever we speak through a local network, the first thing what happens is here the virus is planted into a legitimate program code. So what happens is basically uh, whenever someone is requesting, or an hacker, what he has done is he has inserted the particular virus in that some local server, nearby server. Now this server, with this what happens is, if someone tries to access it, suppose the virus by a particular user has been sent to this server, okay, now the server data, okay, the server data is sent to other users as well as it is sent to other servers also, right? You can see here it is getting some data from other servers also. Even this particular server is getting data from other servers also. Now suppose one server is having or has got infected with virus. Now if it sends the data, because once a server is inside the virus, it spreads itself, let it be computer or let it be virus. Once it have got inside into any machine, it spreads itself, okay, and it has to spread to other system through means of some communication. Either it can only spread the virus from one server to other server whenever there is a request of something. Unless until there is no request, a particular server, through a particular server or through a particular system, the virus cannot go to the other server, okay, or cannot be moved to the other server. That's what that's what here the server has sent some data to the next server where it has requested the first server for some data. So now it is sending some data to second server, where within that data malicious code also is available, which is entering to the server 2. Now once that malicious code enters into server 2, it will self-replicate itself. Now, but in order to transfer this virus to other system, this particular server has to request some data from this server. Okay. So once this server requests some data from this server will send the data to this server. Then only it will send. And with that data, even malicious code is also spread, or virus also spreads. That's what the virus is spread through the local networks. These are the ways through which a virus spreads, okay, within the spread through the internet, in the standalone systems, and through the networks. Next we'll see what is the difference between computer virus and computer worms. Now whenever I say whenever basically we say a virus is nothing but it is some malicious code which keeps on replicating itself within the system. Okay, it keeps on replicating itself within the system, but when it has to spread to on a network or to some other system, it needs a host program. Okay, for a virus, every time it is self-modified within the system, it keeps on modifying itself, it keeps on spreading itself, but outside the system it actually needs a host program to spread, as we have seen in previous examples images. Whereas worm, okay, before that, in virus, a virus, next upcoming we'll see the different types of viruses, that is sleuth virus, okay, encryption with variable key virus, polymorphic code virus, metamorphic code virus. These are the different viruses, okay, which we'll see in upcoming. And next, what is a computer virus basically? Okay, it is a software program that can copy itself and the data or information without user knowledge. Okay, once it has been copied into that host program, into that system, it can copy itself n number of time. That is nothing but it can spread itself within that particular system, okay, everywhere. But in order to spread to other system, it needs some host program to spread. Okay, next is computer worm. Now computer worm is basically a worm. It's a software program whose nature is self-replicating. That is nothing but it can replicate itself in the particular network, in the network, to a network. It can send copies to any network without any user intervention. Okay, that's what we say here. The mode of spreading is it will spread itself without any intervention. And what are the different types of worms? You can have email worms, instant messaging worms, internet worms, IRS worms, self-sharing worms, network worms. Okay, next we'll see different types of viruses. There are 7 different types of viruses. For now, we'll see here. There are many n number of viruses, but for as per your textbook, we'll see 7 different viruses. The first virus is boot sector virus. The next virus is program virus, then multi-parted. Next is sleuth virus. After that you have polymorphic virus. After that you have macro viruses. After that you have ActiveX and Java control viruses. Okay, so first we'll see what is boot sector viruses. Now boot sector viruses. Now what do you mean by boot sector basically? So as you know, whenever you have a computer, okay, your hard disk will have something called as master boot record. Okay, in every computer or PC, it will be having something called as master boot record on your hard disk. So whenever you click on the power button, okay, power button or start button of your system. What happens is the RAM, okay, or your CPU, what it does is the first code what is execute is your master boot record, okay. So once you click on the power system, your CPU will get that master boot record and store in RAM and execute that code, okay. So what this boot sector virus does is it infects this MBR, this master boot record. I suppose you all have understood what is master boot record by now, okay. So what this boot sector virus basically does is it affects this master boot record itself, okay. Now other than at times what happens is, other than affecting the master boot record or other than infecting the master boot record, it also infects some other, it infects some other executable files also. That is nothing but the non-bootable media also. It can trigger even them. If it is not able to infect the master boot record, it will infect other executable files in that particular system, okay. These viruses copy their infected code either through floppy disk boot sector, okay. So what happens is, this viruses basically what they do is the infected code, this virus infected code is copied to floppy disk boot sector or hard disk partition table, okay. So as I have explained you, when this virus get affected whenever you start a computer memory, that is not good, whenever you switch on the computer. So in order to remove this or eradicate this virus, you have to again remove all the viruses from the memory itself. Next is program virus. Now, as the name says, program virus, basically, the virus basically, this program virus is basically, it gets activated whenever whenever a user activates, okay, whenever your user executes this particular extension files, that is bin.com, .exe, .ovl, .drv. If user executes, if any of this file which is containing this program virus, this virus gets opened, okay. And once this virus gets opened, it makes copy of itself and start infecting other programs of the computer, okay. So this is the second type of virus. Next we'll see multi-parted virus. Now what do you mean by basically multi-parted virus? So as we seen the boot sector virus, okay, it is a bit similar to that, okay. There we have seen only boot sector. Sorry, if we have boot sector, it is only boot sector and non boot sector some files. Here we are seeing multi-parted virus is a fast moving virus, well it infects either executable files or the boot files. It infects both boot sector files and executable files simultaneously. There we have seen either there we have seen either boot sector is affected, or either boot sector is executed or affected, or the executed file is affected. Here both are affected, and this virus, what happens is, this virus infects computer system multiple times and at different times, okay. Now this now to remove these files, the entire virus must be removed from the system basically, okay. And this multi-parted virus is basically known as hybrid viruses. Next is sleuth virus. Now as the name says, sleuthing is nothing but basically hiding. So whenever we say hiding, what happens is basically here the virus is hidden in, it's basically a hidden computer virus that attacks your operating system. Okay, and avoids any antivirus all or anti malware scans. What happens is this viruses hides within the files. It hides within the files of partitions and boot sectors so that it can avoid the antivirus. So to remove this sleuth virus, you need an advanced antivirus or a clean system reboot. Next is polymorphic virus. Now, whenever we say polymorphic virus, it's basically that the virus is encrypted. When we say polymorphic virus, the virus is basically infected, and what happens here is basically where the encryption happens is the payload. The encryption basically happens in payload. Now what do you mean by payload is the malicious code. Okay, payload is the malicious code, okay, which is actually having this malicious code is actually having the code. Okay, this computer, this what happens is uh, sorry here what happens is self encrypted virus. Now this virus, it encrypts its payload, okay, within the intention of making detection of virus more difficult. Now what do you mean by payload is the payload is the area where the actual malicious code is residing. That's what this polymorphic virus, what it does is it encrypts its virus. Okay, that's what you say. You say it has self encrypted virus. Okay, which is designed to avoid the detection by a scanner. Okay, now once your system gets infected by this virus, it duplicates itself by creating usable though simply modified copies of itself. Okay, and in order to detect this virus, you have to use brute force programs which must be written to combat and detect the computer virus with a novel variant configurations. Okay, so for polymorphic we need to use brute force programs. Next is macrovirus. Now, what do you mean by macrovirus? Now, this virus is basically a computer virus. It is basically a computer virus that infects Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, any files which are related to Microsoft. Okay, it infects any file which are related to like Microsoft Office tools. Okay, now this micro viruses works by embedding malicious code in macros of these particular documents, that is Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, and other files of Microsoft. Okay, like spreadsheets and other data files, causing the malicious programs to run as soon as the document open. So what happens is once that particular, suppose let me take Microsoft Word, once this particular Microsoft Word has been affected by microvirus. Okay, once it has been affected by microvirus and you open the Microsoft Word, okay, so the microvirus gets activated. Okay, and how do we remove this Microsoft virus is to use on-demand scanner first, followed by a full scan using relative antiviruses. And the last virus which we'll see is ActiveX and Java control. Okay, now whenever we speak ActiveX and Java control, basically we'll come to know that these two are related to the web pages. Okay, now whenever we see all web browsers, okay, that basically have the settings of ActiveX and Java controls within them. Okay, so we need to have some little awareness of this too, because we need to know what web page to access, what cookies to stop, okay, or what pop-ups to stop. okay, by disabling or enabling few pop-ups, okay, downloading files and sounds, okay, so that our system doesn't become target of any cyber crime. Okay, so this so we have to know, or we have to know related to ActiveX control and Java controls. Okay, we have to gain knowledge on this. So okay, the last one, and the second question which I was speaking, what is virus hoax? So basically, why? So till now we have seen viruses, computer virus, computer worms. What are, how can you find that your computer is infected by virus, and what are the different types of virus? Okay, till now we have seen. The next question which has which is there, that is, what is virus hoax? So virus hoax is basically, there is no virus in it actually. Okay, let me say you like this. Suppose you get an email from your friend, or you get a message from your friend that this virus has is infecting all our systems. Okay, but there is no virus actually. Okay, only thing is that they in the mode of fear, what they do is, this actually initiated by an attacker to get some information of all the people who are using it, basically. So you get a mail from your friend that this virus affected the system, it is affecting all the viruses, kindly be sure. So what you as a person or an individual has to get it, you have to check that the website which is specified by your friend or your colleague or someone that it is having virus, check with the website. Okay, website, that if it is having any virus, or it is just afwa, what you say, or it is just a word on wind, basically. Okay, so you need to verify with the leading website which we are using, that if it is having virus or not. If it is has virus, then make sure that you're protecting itself. If it is not having virus, then reply back to the sender, okay, there is no virus in it. Okay, that's what is said here. A virus hoax is a false warning about a computer virus. Typically, the warning arrives from an email note or distributed through a note in a computer's internal network. These notes are usually forwarded using distribution list and will typically suggest that recipient forward to someone else. Okay, and once you get such messages, you make sure that you verified from that particular website if that particular virus is there. If it is not there, then basically it means it's a virus hoax. Okay, and the person who has send you this information, kindly reply him back and warn him that is just a hoax. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.